This is a video to explain how to get into the Advent Roma 2000. The diagram shows the positions of the screws for dismantling. Now I'll go through it and show you how the sequence of removing the screws are, but first of all, at the bottom we've got a key to show what the colour scheme is on the diagram. These end screws, there's two end screws in the end of the casing. That's one, there's the other. Now the black ones are just you can see the heads on the surface of the case, so that's these ones here. The blue ones are the ones that are underneath casings, covers, or the battery. The green ones are the two screws which give most problems. I think these are the two that people can't find. And the red ones are two kind of special screws which this one holds the keyboard in, and it's got KB beside it on the case, and this one has an O beside it on the case. It's the optical drive, the DVD drive. So those two screws, when you take them out, mark them for identification because they're different lengths. In fact, put all the screws out in a pattern that you can put them back in the same place. Now, before you start, make sure that all the main leads is out of the laptop, battery is removed from the battery compartment, right? Now then, this diagram shows the base of the case with the battery removed. Now this is the battery compartment, and what we've got is, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to remove, and then there's one hidden screw in the battery bay, this one coloured green. It's actually under a label, and on the label it's got tampering with this, you lose your warranty, but you need to take the label off to reveal the screw. Now then, round the perimeter you need to undo these screws, and the ones marked in orange are deeper screws. They're set deep into the case, so they all need removed. Now then, we go to the hard drive cover. You remove 2 screws from the hard drive cover, and it'll let you remove it. Inside of the hard drive cover there's 2 screws, the 2 small blue ones, holding the hard drive. You remove those, and then by pulling the hard drive back, it removes it from the socket. Once you've moved it out of the way, there's 2 other screws with bigger heads on them that need removed, and then that's that section taken care of. Then go over to where the heatsink and, well, the motherboard, the heatsink and the fan are exposed when you get this cover off. That cover is removed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that are visible on the top of the cover, and there's one deeper one which has to be removed, so that's 6 screws in all. Then when you've got that cover out of the way, it reveals the heatsink and the fan, which are in this area. Now you must remove the heatsink, which there's 3 fairly big screws on the heatsink itself in a triangular pattern, and then there's one on the end of the heatsink plate. So that's 4 screws to remove, and then the heatsink is attached to the fan top by tape. You need to pull the tape away from the fan, and it allows you to remove the complete heatsink. Now when you've done that, you'll find the screw that gives the most problems to people. I think it's the one there, the green one, which is actually under the copper part of the heatsink, coming in this. The heatsink runs along there and then back round, and that screw is covered over by the heatsink, so by removing it you can undo that. Also, when you've got the heatsink off, the actual grill where the fan blows the hot air from is usually blocked, so it's a good opportunity to remove that. Then, with all the screws removed, you can then, with a screwdriver or some instrument for prising between the 2 casings, just ease it round and ease it round, and it'll flip out from the retaining sort of clips on the inside. When you've got the cover removed, right, when you've got into the motherboard area inside of the machine, this is the area of the motherboard that we're going to be doing the repair on, where the pointer is going round. Now the pointer is now going around the socket that's giving us the problems, and to get that out, what you've got to do is, first of all, the cable from it runs round that pin, round and through a guide beside the fan, goes round the back of the fan, and then that's the label there is the one that's wrapped round the cables, and you can just see the corner of the plugs there. So that's its route. The actual cables from the plug, it's actually a little harness with 6 cables. There's 3 black ones and 3 red ones in a harness. Now, first of all, what's got to be done, there's a cable which runs along here which covers the harness that you want to remove, so that cable has to firstly be taken out to give you access. So there's a little plug there, you pull the plug out, remove the cable from round the pin, out of the guide, and once it's out of the way you can just lie it down here. With that out of the way that I removed the harness was first to go to the plug on the motherboard and just pull the plug out, and then unthread the cable harness from round the back of the fan, just lift it out of that guide, lift it from round that pin, and then round, you'll find that the cable is now free. It's only the socket that's holding it. Now that socket's held in there's two slides that the plug, the socket shoves into. Now to get it out, you've got to lift the socket vertically upwards. So just ease the socket upwards with a little screwdriver or something to ease it up, and it'll completely come out. And when you've got it out, there's actually two means of repair. The first one, you can remove the socket from the end of the original harness by desoldering it. And then resoldering a new socket on. The second way is to buy a complete socket with the harness and plug complete. Now it's up to the individual which way they go. There isn't that much difference in price anyway. So once you've got the repaired cable and socket, or the new one, what you do is you push the plug back down the slides, feed your harness round and round through the guide, back around, and push it into the socket on the motherboard. Then you must replace this, don't forget to replace this cable over the top of it, and put that back in that socket there. And once you've done that, that's the repair completed. And all you have to do is assemble all the things in the reverse order that you took it apart from, and then you're back in business with your laptop. Okay.